Only one team will be left standing.
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The reboot, I guess, to the beloved Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite franchise. Is it worth it, or is it just another mediocre fighting game? We'll find out. Welcome to my Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite review. So today, of course, I'm reviewing Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and I'll be breaking it down by segment, just like all my other reviews. So, here we go.
Counter! Being engulfed by the darkness!
One thing that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite does get right, for the most part at least, is the core gameplay itself. However, it can be very easy to learn, and therefore it's very easy to know how to play. It's not that much of a complex game to play, so when you get it, you pretty much know how to play. But the controls at least feel finished. Unlike a game like Street Fighter V, when it first came out, it did not feel finished at all. It doesn't really take much skill to button mash or combo, but it's still a fun game to play. However, the roster is where a lot of the problems lie. Though we already knew about this, the absence of X-Men characters and characters like Doctor Doom just don't feel right. And I know there is other characters to replace them, such as Ultron or Gamora, but just doesn't feel the same. Also, I just mentioned Gamora, and she's a pretty good character in here, but why is she in this and not Star-Lord? And that's only one character that is missing. We're also other characters. I mean, Black Panther is going to be DLC, but he should have been a part of the main roster. The roster was much smaller and much more disappointing than any of us kind of really expected it to be. I expected at least 40 characters for the roster, but 30, and Capcom is kind of going to mash this game with DLC, which I'm looking forward to the DLC characters, but shouldn't really, do that, especially if it's characters that should have been in the initial roster. Same problem that Street Fighter V had. It was missing many characters, it was rushed, and it was unfinished, and then they charged you a lot of money for DLC just so you can make the roster feel more complete.
It's time for the Dark Kingdom to rise! May the symbiote consume you all!
First of all, I just gotta say, I need to use footage from the trailers because the gameplay I took of the story mode was kinda got corrupted. Yes, parts unscripted, in case you were wondering. Alright, moving on. If there is anything to describe the story mode, I'm sorry, but it's cheesy. You see, it's not like Injustice 2, where you can take it as serious as it's trying to take itself. Okay, so what I mean is that Injustice 2 has a story mode that you can take seriously. That's because it doesn't try to take itself too seriously. This, on the other hand, does. This definitely has comic book humor in it. And boy, does it show. Yeah, the story mode isn't that great. But it does include Black Panther and Monster Hunter. That's something. Okay, so I don't really touch on the online that much when I review games, because I don't just buy fighting games and stuff like that just to, you know, play online. But for the sake of this review, since I actually tested out the online for this review, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the online play. All I can say about the online is that it's pretty smooth. Sure, it does lag, and I'm also not going to talk about how I, about how I got my ass kicked in this, but it's smooth. It's pretty smooth. And I don't have much to say about it. Don't have much else to say about it. Just wanted to include this as its own segment. Okay! See, I totally missed there.
Power. No more playing nice!
Level 1. Danger.
I actually forgot to include this in the gameplay segment, whatever. But, screw it. It's gonna be its own segment. The Infinity Stones is a cool new feature in the game. And it's, well, you expect. It's the Infinity Stones. Being power, reality, soul, time, space, and mind. It does help you in fights when you really need them. But other than that, it's just a cool new feature. I usually never touch on the technical aspects, but for this game, since there's a lot of things wrong with this game's technical aspects, I'm going to talk about this, especially what's going on right now. I mean, come on. Like, really? How does this even happen? You can see, one of these technical aspects is Ghost Rider on the exact opposite side of Spider-Man, yet Spider-Man can block what Ghost Rider's doing. The f***? Lip syncing is pretty bad. I mean, just watch.
Did you enjoy that? Super! You shall live on as part of me.
Also, the faces are pretty bad. I mean, just watch. Just look at this. Just wait till you get a chance to see other people's faces. There's one. I mean, Ultron Sigma doesn't really have that much of an ugly face, but okay, over here. Look at these faces. That one. Look at that one. Look at that one. Oh, look at that one. That one doesn't. Look at that one again. Look at that one. Look at all those faces. They all don't look right. That's because this game is fucked. So the amount of frames that they move at sometimes is kind of bad. That's all I'm gonna say for it. Yeah.
Here comes a wall of muscle.
Who will come out on top? Ready. Fight!
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is a heavily flawed game, but also a pretty good one. It's really fun to play, and I know I was negative about it for most of the review. I was really excited for this game, and I think it met my expectations. I mean, there's nothing I expected that wasn't here. I mean, okay, what I mean by that is I knew everything that was here because I was following the game a lot. And it does have a lot of problems. It's kind of unfinished, similarly to Street Fighter V when it was first out. It's still a frickin' fun game to play. And I'd say it's actually a pretty solid fighting game. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite gets my review score of 7 out of 10. It's a freaking solid fighting game, and I actually recommend it. I recommend it to any fighting game fan, any Marvel fan, or any Capcom fan. But just be aware of the flaws it has. That's it for this review. Be sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Right now, first of all, I just want to say, I gotta use gameplay from, nah, fuck. I don't really, touch on, fuck. Okay, so I didn't, okay, so I don't really talk to you. Okay, so I don't really touch on the online that much, and I review games. Okay, so I don't really talk. Now, I usually don't touch on the technical aspects for this. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite gets a 7.5 out of 10. God, no, I'm not keeping that. No, 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 no. I am not keeping that. There's no freaking way I'm keeping that shit. No. That is an outtake.